Real Madrid's three-peat in the UEFA Champions League is still one of the greatest achievements in football. But what if I told you that that is one of the most controversial records in modern football? See, that three-peat is a little questionable, and particularly because of one match. A match that's largely considered one of the most controversial games in football history. The second leg of the quarter-final fixture between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich in the 2016-2017 UEFA Champions League season. Why is that game so controversial? I'll tell you all about it in this video. Come with me. So, to qualify for that game, Real Madrid had beaten Napoli 6-2 on aggregate in the round of 16, while Bayern Munich gave Arsenal a good 10-2 trouncing on aggregate. So, going into that game, both teams were in good form, and this was easily the biggest game of the round, so all eyes were on it. But did that stop the referee from unleashing the madness we saw that day? Certainly not. Now, it's the second leg that was really controversial, but it's like we were given a tip of the iceberg when the teams first met in Germany. A controversial penalty was awarded to Bayern Munich just before halftime. Carvajal was adjudged to have handled the ball and was shown a yellow card, but I'm not exactly sure the ball touched his arm. Anyway, Bayern got the penalty, but Vidal missed, so no real consequence. In the second half, Müller had a chance to be one-on-one with the keeper, but the flag went up. You look at the replay and it's obvious that the referees got that one wrong, as Marcelo was obviously keeping him on. And this won't be the last time I'll say this in this video. But it was easy to overlook these errors. It was before the VAR era, and the errors favoured both sides, so it was no big deal, right? Well, what fans around the world didn't know was that those errors were actually foreboding. They were preparing us for one of the most controversial games in football history. The second leg of this gravely consequential fixture. Real Madrid won the first leg 2-1, so Bayern came into the second leg with real hunger. And they were given a boost by the return of their chief marksman, Robert Lewandowski, who had missed the first leg. Matt Hummels also returned, replacing Javi Martinez, who was sent off in the first leg. Unsurprisingly, Bayern came into the game rather eager, and that affected them early on. Just 5 minutes into the game, Arturo Vidal was shown a yellow card for fouling Isco just outside the box. Not the start that Bayern wanted. Fortunately for them though, Ronaldo was unable to hit the target from the free kick. A few minutes later, Vidal would try to correct his mistakes by putting his side on level terms on aggregate, but his shot from outside the box was wide of the mark. Now, you would expect that Bayern would be completely dominant, as they needed a goal more than their opponents did, but it was actually Madrid who had more chances in the first half. 27 minutes in, Carvajal forced Neuer into a good save with his shot from outside the box, and the follow-up from Ramos had to be cleared from the touchline by Boateng because the ball had certainly beaten the goalkeeper. Real Madrid kept the pressure on. Kroos attempted a shot from the edge of the box in the 33rd minute, but he missed the target. Then in the 39th minute, something pretty significant happened. Casemiro fouled Vidal, and he got a yellow card for that. Take a mental note of this, it'll become important later in the video. Anyway, the resulting free kick was no threat at all. David Alaba sent the ball straight into the crowd. In the 42nd minute, Cristiano Ronaldo also sent his ball into the stands with a shot from inside the 18-yard box. And that was it for the first half. Pretty boring, fair, and largely uncontroversial. We thought the second half would continue in that manner, but we were in for a really big shocker. We came out for the second half expecting things to go exactly as they did in the first half, but it took a very different turn right at the start. In the 51st minute, Casemiro fouled Robben inside the box, and a penalty was rightfully awarded. But here's the thing, going by the rules of the game, that penalty should have been accompanied by a yellow card for Casemiro, which would have seen him sent off. Remember I told you to take a mental note of his booking for his foul against Vidal? Aren't they similar? Exactly. That was surely controversial, but I'm sure Bayern did not mind so much. They got their penalty, Lewandowski converted, and they were finally back in the game. That was the exact start to the second half they wanted. Game on. They then start to really put pressure on Madrid. Literally, a minute after the goal, Robben played Vidal in, but the Chilean was unable to convert, missing the target by quite some distance. In the 57th minute, Ribéry forced Navas to a save with his acrobatic shot. In response to this pressure, Zidane made a huge change. He took off Karim Benzema and replaced him with Marco Asensio, a young player whom many didn't believe in, but ended up having a huge impact on the game. We'll get to that later, but for now, let's look at another controversial call. Robert Lewandowski should have had a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper, but the linesman's flag went up. On a second look, that flag should probably not have been raised as Marcelo appeared to be playing him on, just like he did in the first leg with Müller. But again, this was before VAR. Linesmen getting these kinds of calls wrong was not exactly uncommon. You can forgive this if you want to, but I promise you, there's a lot more stuff about to happen in this game that you surely can't forgive. Let's keep going. Matt Hummels got a yellow card in the 75th minute for stopping Luka Modric, who appeared to be running towards goal with a lot of purpose. Just a minute later, another Bayern player tried to replicate that foul in the midfield, but Casemiro refused to go down, and he ended up putting in a beautiful cross for Ronaldo, who said thank you very much, and converted expertly, bringing Madrid level on the night and ahead on aggregate. But wait a minute, think about this for a second. Casemiro provided that beautiful assist, but he shouldn't even have been on the pitch. He should have been shown a second yellow for his foul on Robben, which led to the Bayern penalty. Did I hear someone say the butterfly effect? Oh yes, but it gets even worse in this game, trust me. In spite of all of this, Bayern Munich were not down for long at all. 1 minute later, they benefited from confusion among Real Madrid's defenders, which led to an own goal from Sergio Ramos. Now that goal was a huge one because it not only brought Bayern back into the game, it also forced extra time. The away goal rule was still active in the Champions League at this time, so this was literally the only scoreline that could have forced extra time, and we got it. Interesting. Bayern were probably thinking they had weathered the storm by getting this far, in spite of all the controversial decisions that went against them. Little did they know that the real controversy was just about to begin. In the 80th minute, Casemiro fouled Robben yet again, and should really have seen a second yellow, third yellow actually, if we're being real. But the referee ignored yet again. Wow! Bayern fans must have thought it couldn't get worse than that, but the referee went, "Hold my beer." In the 84th minute, Vidal went for a sliding tackle and won the ball super cleanly. But the second yellow, which the referee had found himself unable to produce for Casemiro all game, somehow quickly came out for Vidal. Off he went. Now take a look at this again. That was a very fantastic tackle. Vidal won all of the ball and he won it cleanly too, but he got sent off while Casemiro remained on the pitch? Crazy. At this point, it was Bayern's 10 men against Madrid's 12. Because the referee was definitely on the side of the Spanish giants, but I'm sure they were absolutely not prepared for what was about to happen in extra time. So, extra time begins with Madrid having the unfair numerical advantage. And of course, they start mounting pressure on 10 men Bayern Munich. Ronaldo forces Neuer to make a save with a powerful shot from outside the box in the 96th minute, and just seconds after that, Marcelo shoots wide from inside the box. In the 98th minute, Douglas Costa shot wide, and a minute later, it was Asensio forcing Neuer to make a save at the other end of the pitch. It was pretty end-to-end stuff in the first half of extra time. Well, until the linesman decided to step in and favour Real Madrid for the umpteenth time in this tie. With just 2 minutes left of the first half of extra time, Sergio Ramos sent a cross in to Cristiano Ronaldo, who was standing comfortably in an offside position, and he scored to put Madrid ahead on aggregate. No. Look at that. Ronaldo was well offside, but the referee, who was literally just meters away, was not able to spot that. Now, this officiating was so questionable, but the match went on. The halftime whistle went not long after that goal, and one would have thought that we had had enough controversy and horrible officiating for one day, but the refereeing team wanted to give us a climax. So, 4 minutes after the resumption of the second half of extra time, we saw Marcelo go on a beautiful run, carrying the ball seamlessly through the Bayern defense. Were we going to finally see one Real Madrid goal without any taint of controversy today? No, certainly not. Marcelo's run led him into the Bayern box, and in there, he passed the ball forward to Cristiano Ronaldo, who was obviously ahead of the ball. Simple offside rules tell us that that goal should not have stood, but this is one of the most controversial games in football history, so anything goes. The Bayern players raised their hands calling for the refs to intervene, but of course, they weren't getting anything. So, Ronaldo completed his hat-trick. A perfect hat-trick, actually, after he scored with his left foot, right foot and head. But I think I can confidently say that this is arguably the most questionable hat-trick in Champions League history. With Bayern's spirits already crushed, Asensio went on to add another goal in the 112th minute, and that was how one of the most controversial games in football history came to an end. So in this game alone, we saw Casemiro not get sent off despite making 2 fouls deserving of second yellows. Then he went on to assist Real Madrid's first goal of the game. We then saw Vidal get sent off for a clean and very legitimate tackle. Like that wasn't enough, the controversies were then capped off with 2 offside goals from Cristiano Ronaldo in extra time to hand the semi-final ticket to Real Madrid. I spoke of the butterfly effect earlier. Listen to this. Imagine if this game was properly officiated and Madrid got knocked out. History as we know it would have been altered, as they would not have completed the three-peat in the Champions League era. Also, without that illegal hat-trick, Ronaldo would not have finished as Champions League top scorer that season, and he maybe would not have won the Ballon d'Or too. That's how much just one controversial game can affect the entire course of history. Now that I've shown you all these controversial decisions in that game and the effects they've had in the history of football as we know it, would you say there has been a more controversial game in football history than this? If yes, get in the comments and tell me which game you think is more controversial than the Champions League match between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich.